Most of us treat the modern human condition like a high-speed sprint. We spend decades running on a treadmill of acquisition, gathering physical assets. Society trains us to keep a tangible ledger to measure a successful life. We look at the expansive bungalow, the luxury cars in the driveway, and the property deeds, and the social prestige attached to our names. But underneath all that gathering, there is an unspoken exhaustion. The treadmill never actually stops. We pour our immense energy into building a physical kingdom that, by the simple laws of biology, we ultimately cannot keep. There is a precise, unavoidable interruption waiting for all this hustle. Eventually, our breath stops. And in that second, every earthly title and property deed is completely stripped away. This text identifies the precise boundary of our ownership. It tells us that when the breath stops, everything remains right here. None of our hard-earned physical wealth transfers over to God's court. While our physical assets remain behind, we carry forward an invisible currency, our karma, the sum of our actions and deeds. If our physical life is fleeting and only our karma survives the trip, how do we build up this spiritual currency while we're here? The text provides 3 specific paths. The first pillar is Nam Smaran, which translates to the remembrance of the divine name. The text specifies that the mind must be deeply absorbed in devotion, bypassing loud rituals. It is an inward discipline of spiritual focus. You have to anchor yourself internally first. Grounding your mind in this quiet devotion is the essential prerequisite before you can step outward and take meaningful action in the world. Once that internal foundation is set, the focus shifts outward, moving from quiet meditation to active duty within human society. This is the second pillar, Seva and Dan, service and charity. The instruction here is aimed at helping the impoverished and those in desperate need. Building this specific karma requires friction. You have to actively intercept your own resources and time, pulling them away from your personal accumulation and redirecting them to lift others up. True charity acts as a kind of alchemy. It takes depreciating earthly wealth and converts it into permanent spiritual currency by easing someone else's burden. But we have to ask ourselves, is human-to-human service the absolute limit of our moral obligation? The text pushes the boundary much further. It introduces the third pillar, Jivdaya. This means expanding our circle of moral concern past the self, past humanity, and out to all living beings. It is a direct cultural instruction to care for mute animals and birds, creatures that have no voice and cannot advocate for themselves in modern infrastructure. Serving the voiceless yields a unique type of karma. Animals cannot pay you back. They offer no social prestige or networking opportunities. The action requires 0 transactional return. Firmly, to build a complete spiritual portfolio, we have to practice an empathy that extends beyond the boundaries of our own species. It is natural to feel a bit skeptical here. If we give away our precious time, our money, and our energy, aren't we just depleting ourselves? The text addresses this fear directly. It assures us that the time and charity given to God's work, or compassion for living beings, never goes to waste. The spiritual economy follows an underlying physics distinct from the material one. When you spend $1, it's gone. But spiritual wealth operates on a closed, cyclical loop. Practicing selflessness doesn't drain your resources. It turns out to be the most secure, guaranteed investment a human being can make. Earthly actions, the hours volunteered, the charity offered, transmute into karma, and rather than dissipating, they eventually cycle back down to the individual as eternal blessings. This cyclical protection is anchored by the text's final sign-off, "May Krishna always help." We are not defined by the bungalows or the bank accounts we hoard during our brief time here. We are defined exclusively by what we give away, because that is the only thing that actually survives us.